What do we do? Gig 'em,
Gig 'em, baby. Come on. Let's go. I'll just start talking as a Texas A&M fan. Last year it was a disappointment. That's not a secret. I get it. We went 5-7. It was a disaster, right? And I'll tell you why it was a disaster. Okay, offensively, we were not very good. We were not very good. Got our offensive coordinator out of there. Who do we get? Bobby Petrino. A lot of question marks, right? Like, how's that going to fit with Jimbo? Jimbo's hinted a little bit that Bobby Petrino, when he has called plays, has done a good job. We'll see if he actually gives up that spot. But I think really hurt them in certain games that they could have won, like Ole Miss. They could have won that game. Like Appalachian State. Oh, gosh. Those two teams ran the ball very effectively against Texas A&M. If you look at that, right, 61% of the time teams are running the ball against us. That is a ridiculous clip. Now, that's even higher when McKinley Jackson was not playing, but guess who's back and healthy? That would be McKinley Jackson, right? So really the only players that you lost in this team that are super important, right? Antonio Johnson, invaluable. He was really good. Jalen Jones, good athletic corner with length on the edge. Tunmise Adelier went to Michigan State. I think he was a really good player, but the defensive line is pretty loaded, so I'm not super worried about that. What do you get back? Well, pretty much everyone I said. Pretty much everyone. I mean, look, Bryce Anderson, gosh, he is special. Let me tell you, that's an all-SEC defensive player this year. I'm going to tell you that right now. He's filling right where Antonio Johnson was, him, or even Jared Kerr. I don't know. Both of those players are really freaking talented. So, I don't know. I'm a big fan of him. Kenley Jackson's good. The defensive line is crazy. What do you have? 6 5-stars on the defensive line? 5 5-stars on this defensive line? It's gonna be crazy, right? And if DJ Durkin can actually figure out, right, we're gonna find out week 2 against Miami against a really good offensive line. If we can actually, stop that offensive line, really get some push there, right? Maybe Henry Parrish doesn't have a great day. Maybe get some pressure on the quarterback more so than we did last year. I think that defense could be really good. Of course, we were worried about linebacker depth. I mean, Chris Russell, a lot of tackles, but he's okay, right? I do like Edgerrin Cooper. I just don't think he's a very side to side, like lateral guy, right? I think that's tough, and I do think DJ Durkin did not put our linebackers in very good situations last year, especially when he only ran, like the 3-man fronts. Asking our linebackers to do too much when the reality is the talent is in the defensive line. I think he thought that, we were so talented there that we only need 3 guys, right? Let's, but I don't know. 7.5 is a discount, so I'm taking the over for sure. 100%. I got it at, I think minus 145 a while ago. I think it's at minus like 180 now. This is a discount. This is a legit discount. You get Alabama at home. That's a winnable game. That game's a touchdown, by the way. It's down to a touchdown. 7 points. It's a winnable game. That means you're basically giving A&M a 33% chance to win that game. A third chance. 1 in 3 times they play that game, they win that game, according to odds. That's doable. At Tennessee, I think that game is about 8 points, 9 points. I think they match up better with Tennessee with that secondary. It's crazy. You get Tony Grimes in the transfer portal, Sam McCall, Josh DeBerry, along with Tyreek Chappell and Jordan Gilbert, and Damani Richardson comes back. That secondary is going to be one of the best secondaries in the country, likely. And if they can run some man and really run with those boys in Tennessee, I think they match up really well there. Offensively, the question mark turns to the offensive line. They were really beat up last year. They're injured, but guess what? Every single one of them is back. 2 other times that's happened, 2020, 2012. Both really good years where you had a chance to make the college football playoffs one year, and then you had a chance to make the national championship another year, but you lost an early game to Florida with Johnny Manziel. I will say Ruben Fothery has been beat up. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Chase Besantis, the true freshman. All you hear is just this kid from New Jersey just being a dog. And he might start at right tackle for these guys week 1, which would be crazy. I love a good true freshman starting at tackle in the SEC. Of course, Donovan Green goes down at tight end. Unfortunately, season-ending injury, but I think this tight end room is loaded. And even more loaded than the tight end room is the receiver room. Oh, my goodness, it's so good. All right, Ainias Smith comes back. Did people forget that he got hurt last year? People forget? I think they forgot, all right? But he's back. Evan Stewart, Well, no one's forgot about him because he is very, very good at football. And he'll be one of the better receivers in the SEC this year. We saw it, against Alabama. He was fantastic. He was good all year. He was good all year. The numbers don't show it necessarily for him, but if he had some better balls thrown his way, which I think he will this year with Conor Wegman at quarterback, I think he will get that. Noah Thomas, spring offensive MVP. That dude has Mike Evans' size and speed, which is ridiculous, right? And if he's winning spring MVP practice or spring MVP, offensive MVPs over other guys in this receiving room, including Moose Muhammad as well, who I haven't even mentioned, who, if you'll remember from the LSU game, was ridiculous. Mississippi State was ridiculous. Yeah. So after those four guys, it gets kind of interesting because you don't have really a whole lot of depth. You're asking some freshmen to make some big time plays, but this is a good team. Give me the over. Running back room, loaded. Quarterback room, fine. Figured out, we believe. Wide receiver room, loaded. Offensive line, enough. Experience. Defensive line, loaded. Linebacker, maybe a little bit thin. Secondary, loaded, right? All it comes down to is, can we coach these guys? Can DJ Durkin figure it out in run defense? And can Bobby Petrino put it all together?
Yeah, I kind of agree with everything you just said. I'm a little bit more concerned about tight end than you are. I think Donovan Green, I was really high, and I thought he was going to be a guy that was going to take that second-year jump. I'm a little bit worried about depth behind him. Max Wright's a good blocker. Jake Johnson's high recruit. Still have to be shown on the field and how they can, impact the passing game. 7.5 is way too low. Way too low for this talented of a team. I think Vegas almost over-adjusted after what happened last year. The thing is, I can't touch this line. I can't touch it because I think that I feel like the past 3 years we've been, like last year and the year before that, you and I have both been pounding the table for the over, but it just hasn't hit. And so it scares me off a little bit. I do think Conor Wegman, the quarterback, I'm expecting him to take a big jump. I think there'll be a noticeable difference with the quarterback play that he has there. I think the offense, I am not concerned at all about the offense. I am concerned about stopping the run. I like the deep. I know the talent in the defensive line room. I know it's there. I get it. It still scares me because what I saw last year was embarrassing for a team that talented to just get bullied up front and game after game against teams that should not have. Linebacker, like you said, definitely a question mark. Hopefully the defensive line can kind of protect that with the way they can just fill gaps and whatever else. Rushing the passer is the only concern. I get on the inside. I love Walter Nolan, McKinley Jackson, Shamar Stewart at the end. I think if you're looking for edge guys that can really bend and get on the edge, where's that going to come from? Is it Fadil Diggs? Is it Anai White? Is it Malik Sola? Are those guys ready to go? I hope so. But again, I'd like to be seen. Tony Grimes is a guy I'm looking forward to be playing just because of how talented he was. And I think they're going to get the best out of him. Is the cornerback coach still there? Is it still, what's his name? Antonio Cromartie, right?
No, he's not there anymore.
Okay. Well, that's too bad for Tony Grimes. But regardless, I think getting out of North Carolina is good, a win for him. That's the questions to ask you, though. In terms of last year, is this a better roster than last year, top to bottom?
Yes, 100%.
It's the same roster, except everyone gets better, right?
Yeah, except some of the depth transfers, right? I guess Chris Marshall, Denver Harris was a big loss in the transfer portal. I think that was probably our biggest loss. But come on, this is a better team. This is a better team.
Yeah. So last year, nobody could really see 5-7 coming. But I think if you went back and looked at it, I think there were some writings on the wall for what could happen if injuries hit, if worst case scenario happened. So what worst case scenario, what does that look like here? Is 5-7, is that even possible with this team?
Dude, 5-7 last year was worse than worst case scenario. That was injury luck combined with a flu game against Florida where 30 players go down with the flu. What is that, right? Appalachian State, it was ridiculous. I think DJ Durkin got a little confident. DJ Durkin, let me tell you this. Figure it out, DJ Durkin, or I want you out the door, because there's no reason that we should have been 124th in rushing yards per game, 107th in yards per attempt allowed with that defensive line. I get it that there were some injuries. McKinley Jackson was huge. Tumise Adelia actually went down as well. But come on, I know you were there super young, but you were way too talented. Way too talented. App State, how is Jalen Noel able to run all over you? Chase Bryce, how are they able to run the ball over you? That does not make sense. Figure it out. I get Ole Miss. Arkansas, surprisingly, we stopped. We had an issue with mobile quarterbacks too. I'd like him to, really figure that out. And that comes a lot of like with linebackers, not having really fast lateral linebackers. So to me, what's weird though is like I'm so kind of like desensitized to a bad offense is that like I'm not actually worried about the offense this year. I'm worried that I think the defensive line gets a lot better because they're just way more in shape. These guys are bigger, faster, and stronger than they were last year.
Healthy.
Healthy. I'm not super worried about that, but I do think if we see DJ Durkin misuse this defensive line again, I'm going to lose it because that could be your worst case scenario, right? If Connor Wigman goes down, you see Max Johnson again, right? I mean, he's okay, but I don't know. I think injuries is what kind of brings you down, or just weird like flu games. Like the floor of this team is 7 wins. That is in my eyes, that is the floor of this talented team, right? That's how talented they are. That's the floor. And if that's the floor of this team and the over-under win total is at 7.5, I'm taking the over every single time, right? And it's really easy for me to get biased, like about all that stuff. But like, just go look at the composite talent ratings, right? Go see how actually physically talented this team is, right? Go look at their size. Look how big they are, right? Go look at these preseason magazine awards, which don't necessarily mean anything, but like there is reason to believe that like they're loaded, right? And if Bobby Petrino is the right hire and DJ Durkin can figure it out with his talent, like it just comes down to coaching. That is it. And I'm banking on Bobby Petrino kind of knowing what he's doing. When I interviewed AJ a while back, if you guys are watching and haven't checked out that interview, interviewed AJ Denota a while back, a few weeks ago. And he was talking about how he was really interested in getting to see a lot of pre-snap motion, right? And there were a lot of more wrinkles in the play. And I think the players are starting to buy into this playbook. And if you saw on Texags radio the other day when Evan Stewart was on, Evan Stewart is also very, very excited. He literally could not contain his excitement about how much different this offense looks and how much more confident everyone is in it. Feed me the over. Feed me the over.
Lastly, I can't believe we didn't touch on it, was Devin A-Chain. I think it's a stud, by the way. I think, I think in terms of just like how electric he was, you're going to miss him. Amari Daniels, good player. Le'Veon Musk, good player. Believe in Ruben Owens. Hopefully, by week 4, he's ready to go. Maybe in week 2. We both love him, right? We think he's going to be really good. Lastly, what is a good season? Like, what would you be happy with? What buys Jimbo Fisher a year off the hot seat? Is it 8-4 with this schedule? Does it have to be 9-3?
Okay, 8-4. He's continues to be on the hot seat, right? If you go 9-3 and you don't lose to the Mississippi schools, keyword, because he has not done that in the last 2 years. I think he's fine. It's looking up because then he gets himself another year because then the next year is like the year because this entire class becomes like the guys, they're the juniors, right? Yeah. That's when you win national championships, right, with juniors and seniors. So, it'll be interesting. Still a lot of young guys on this team, but also a lot of great leadership here that I see. McKinley Jackson, Fidel Diggs. I see Layden Robinson on the offensive side of the ball being a leader, Anais Smith being a leader on the offensive side of the ball. So it was way younger of a team last year. I just have a lot of faith. So, yeah, big fan. So,
Gig 'em.
Yeah, what are your last thoughts?
Gig 'em. For the sake of A&M and for the sake of the fan base, I hope they go over. I'm rooting for them. I think there's no reason not to. I'm not going to touch it, but I want to watch good football coming from A&M, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and I'm excited to do it.